The spotlight hit the stage like a thunderbolt, illuminating the grand piano in the heart of Carnegie Hall. Skylar Harrington froze in her velvet seat, her champagne flute slipping from her manicured fingers and shattering on the marble floor, drawing gasps from the elite crowd around her. There at the keys was Sophie Ellis, her Sophie, the girl she'd mourned as dead for 10 years, playing Rachmaninoff with fingers that once traced secrets on Skylar's skin. Skylar's heart hammered against her ribs, a wild rhythm clashing with the concerto's melody. How could this be? She'd buried Sophie in her mind, convinced by the frantic police reports and the endless searches that her lover had vanished into New York's underbelly, another victim of the city's cruel indifference. But here she was alive, her posture straight and unyielding, her expression a mask of focused serenity that hid the storm Skylar knew too well. The applause erupted as Sophie finished, but Skylar couldn't move. Memories flooded her. Stolen kisses in Central Park, whispered promises under Brooklyn Bridge lights, the fierce arguments about coming out to their families. Skylar's parents, pillars of old money society, had threatened to disown her if she pursued that phase. Sophie's working-class roots made her an easy target for their disdain. And then one rainy night, Sophie disappeared without a trace, leaving Skylar shattered and alone. Backstage after the performance, Skylar pushed through the throng of admirers, her designer heels clicking with purpose. She flashed her VIP pass, a perk of her family's donations, and slipped into the green room. Sophie was there, toweling her hands, chatting with the conductor. Their eyes met and time fractured. "Sophie," Skylar breathed, her voice a fragile thread. Sophie's face drained of color. "Skylar? What are you? How did you? You were dead. I thought you were dead." Skylar's words tumbled out, laced with accusation and relief. The room emptied as others sensed the tension, leaving them alone. Sophie glanced away, her jaw tightening. "I had to leave. It was the only way." "The only way? You vanished. No note, no call. I searched for months. Your family thought you'd run off with some guy. But I knew better. We were everything to each other." Sophie's eyes flashed with old fire. "Everything? Until your parents got involved. Remember that ultimatum? Marry that trust fund boy or lose it all. You chose them, Skylar. You always did." Skylar recoiled as if slapped. "That's not fair. I was young, scared. I begged you to wait. And while you begged, they hired investigators to dig up dirt on me, called me a gold digger, threatened my job at the conservatory." Sophie's voice rose, echoing in the small space. "I couldn't stay and watch you crumble under their thumb. So I left. Started over in Chicago, then LA. Changed my last name to evade the mess." Skylar's mind reeled. Her parents had interfered more than she'd known? She'd suspected, but hearing it confirmed twisted the knife. Why come back to New York now? Why risk this? A big break. This concert could launch my career. Sophie sighed, softening slightly. "I didn't expect you'd be here." Skylar stepped closer, the scent of Sophie's perfume, jasmine and vanilla, stirring buried desires. "I've built a life without you. Married even. To a man who fits the picture." Sophie's laugh was bitter. "Of course. The perfect Harrington heiress. Kids. White picket fence. No kids. And the fence is gilded." Skylar's sarcasm masked the ache. Her marriage to Jonathan was a convenient alliance. Two fortunes merging but passionless. Nights alone in their penthouse, she'd replay memories of Sophie, wondering what if. They talked for hours, the conversation a minefield of regrets and revelations. Sophie admitted to watching Skylar's life from afar. Social media glimpses of galas, charity events. "You looked happy," she said. "Appearances." Skylar confessed her own surveillance, the private investigator she'd hired long after Sophie vanished, turning up nothing. "I never stopped loving you." Sophie's hand brushed Skylar's, a spark igniting. "Love wasn't enough back then. What makes you think it is now?" The question hung between them as Skylar's phone buzzed. Jonathan, wondering where she was. She silenced it, but the intrusion reminded her of the world outside. Reconnecting meant unraveling everything. Her marriage, her family's expectations, the societal facade she'd mastered. As they parted with a tentative promise to meet again, Skylar walked into the crisp Manhattan night, her mind a whirlwind. Sophie was alive, but the girl she'd loved had evolved into a woman with scars. And Skylar? She was no longer the naive college student. The choices ahead loomed like shadows, each path fraught with loss. The next day, Skylar canceled her meetings at the family foundation, her thoughts consumed by Sophie. She paced her Upper East Side apartment, overlooking Central Park's autumn hues. Jonathan was away on business as usual, leaving her to her solitude. A knock at the door startled her. It was her mother, Evelyn Harrington, impeccable in Chanel, her silver hair pinned in a chignon. "Darling, I heard about the concert mishap. Spilled champagne? So unlike you." Skylar forced a smile. "Just clumsy." Evelyn's eyes narrowed. "And backstage? Rumors fly in our circles." Skylar's pulse quickened. How did she know? "Nothing important." "Don't lie to me, Skylar. That pianist, Sophie Ellis? I remember her. The one who caused all that trouble in college." Skylar's facade cracked. "You remember? You drove her away." Evelyn sighed, settling on the sofa. "We protected you. She was unsuitable. Working class, no pedigree. And those inclinations. We couldn't let it ruin the family name." "Inclinations?" Skylar's voice sharpened. "You mean loving a woman? It's 2026, Mother. Times have changed." "Not in our world." Evelyn's tone was steel. "Jonathan's family merger secured our legacy. Divorce would be scandalous. Think of the board, the donors." Skylar felt the walls closing in, the same pressure that had suffocated her a decade ago. But now with Sophie back, the chains chafed deeper. "What if I don't care?" "You will. You've always chosen wisely." Evelyn rose, kissing Skylar's cheek. "Don't throw it away for a ghost." Alone again, Skylar texted Sophie. "Coffee tomorrow?" The reply came swiftly, "Yes. Central Park, our old spot." The meeting was electric, charged with unspoken tensions. They walked the paths where they'd once dreamed of forever, now shadowed by years apart. Sophie shared her struggles. Odd jobs, failed relationships, the therapy that helped her accept her identity in a world still judgmental. "I came out fully after leaving," Sophie said. "No more hiding." Skylar envied her freedom. "I envy you. Then why stay hidden?" Sophie's challenge was gentle but piercing. Fear of losing everything. Skylar admitted her loveless marriage, the facade of heteronormativity that shielded her from scrutiny. As leaves swirled around them, their hands intertwined, a silent vow. But Skylar knew this was just the beginning. The real storm brewed within her family and society's gaze. Skylar's double life began subtly, like a crack in fine china. Mornings with Jonathan were rote. Shared coffee, polite kisses, discussions of stock portfolios. But afternoons belonged to Sophie, stolen lunches in hidden cafes, walks disguised as errands. Each encounter peeled back layers of pretense, revealing the raw ache of what could have been. One evening, as Skylar slipped into their penthouse late, Jonathan waited in the study, scotch in hand. "Working overtime again?" His tone was casual, but his eyes probed. "Foundation business." Skylar lied smoothly, a skill honed over years. He nodded, but doubt lingered. Jonathan wasn't blind. Their marriage was more partnership than passion. He'd had affairs, discreet ones, and she suspected he knew her secrets. But confrontation wasn't their style until now. The next day, Sophie invited Skylar to her modest Brooklyn apartment, a far cry from Skylar's luxury. The space was alive with music sheets and books, a testament to Sophie's resilience. They talked deep into the night, Sophie's fingers tracing patterns on Skylar's arm, igniting forgotten fires. "I missed this," Skylar whispered. "Me too." Sophie's kiss was tentative, then urgent, a bridge over the lost decade. No further intimacies, just the comfort of closeness, but it was enough to shatter Skylar's resolve. Guilt gnawed at her. Jonathan deserved truth, but admitting her love for Sophie meant dismantling the life they'd built. And her family? Evelyn would rally the troops, perhaps even cut her off financially. At a family dinner that weekend, the tension escalated. Her father, Reginald, boomed about politics, decrying woke agendas that threatened traditional values. Skylar bit her tongue, but when he joked about a colleague's gay scandal, she snapped. "That's not funny, Dad." Reginald raised an eyebrow. "Sensitive tonight?" What's gotten into you? Evelyn shot her a warning glance. Jonathan, sensing the undercurrent, changed the subject. But later in their bedroom he confronted her. Is there someone else? Skylar hesitated, then nodded. There is. A man. His voice was even resigned. No. The word hung heavy. Jonathan sighed, rubbing his temples. I suspected. The distance, the secrets. Who is she? Sophie. From college. The one who disappeared. He remembered the stories. This complicates things. Skylar's eyes filled with tears. I never stopped loving her. He poured them drinks, surprisingly calm. Our marriage was arranged for mutual benefit. But love? That's not us. If you want out, we can divorce quietly. But your parents? They'll disown me. Perhaps. But you're strong, Skylar. Stronger than you think. His understanding was a bomb, but the fallout loomed. Skylar met Sophie the next day, confessing the conversation. He's okay with it? Sophie was skeptical. More than I expected. Skylar felt a weight lift, but another descended. Now my family. Sophie squeezed her hand. We'll face them together. But society whispered louder. At a charity gala, whispers followed Skylar. Heiress acting strange. A tabloid hint emerged online. Anonymous tips about her unusual companionship. Skylar suspected Evelyn's hand. Confronting her mother at the family estate in the Hamptons, Skylar laid it bare. I love Sophie. I'm leaving Jonathan. Evelyn's face hardened. Absolutely not. You'll ruin us. Us? Or your image? Skylar's voice trembled with rage. You drove her away before. Admit it. Evelyn faltered. We did what was necessary. Paid her to leave, actually. Skylar's world tilted. You paid her. A substantial sum. She took it and ran. Betrayal sliced deep. Skylar stormed out, driving straight to Sophie's. Did you take money to leave me? Sophie's eyes widened. What? No, wait, yes, but. Skylar's heart fractured. They offered me $50,000. I was broke, scared. But I didn't take it for that. I used it to start over, away from their threats. Sophie's voice cracked. I thought it was the only way to protect you. Protect me? By abandoning me. Tears streamed down Skylar's face. You lied. I was ashamed. Sophie reached for her, but Skylar pulled away. Forgive me. Please. The argument raged, accusations flying like shards. Skylar left in fury, wandering the city streets, her mind a tempest. Had their love been real, or tainted by money and manipulation? Days blurred into isolation. Jonathan filed for divorce amicably, citing irreconcilable differences. The papers buzzed with speculation but no outright scandal yet. Sophie texted relentlessly, we need to talk. I love you. Skylar ignored them, drowning in doubt. But a chance encounter at a coffee shop changed everything. An old college friend, now an activist, shared stories of similar family pressures. Coming out cost me everything but gained me freedom. Inspired, Skylar called Sophie. Meet me. Neutral ground. At a quiet diner they dissected the past. Sophie explained the desperation. Threats to her visa, she'd been an international student, job loss. Taking the money was survival, not betrayal. Skylar saw the gray areas, the moral ambiguities. We both made choices. Wrong ones, maybe. Reconciliation was tentative, built on honesty. But external forces pressed. Reginald called a family meeting, demanding Skylar end the affair, or face disinheritance. Standing before her parents, Skylar declared, I'm gay. I love Sophie. Disown me if you must. Reginald blustered, Evelyn pleaded, but Skylar walked out, head high. The cost was immediate. Access to funds frozen, board positions revoked. Sophie waited outside. You did it. For us. Skylar's embrace was fierce, but fear lingered. Society's judgment awaited, the loss of friends, the stares at events. As they navigated the fallout, Skylar moved into Sophie's apartment, trading luxury for love. But whispers turned to shouts when a rival family leaked the story to the press. Heiress in lesbian scandal. Headlines screamed, stocks dipped slightly. Old friends distanced themselves, invitations dried up. Skylar's inner turmoil peaked. Was this worth it? The damage to her reputation, the pain inflicted on her family. Sophie too faced backlash. Bookings cancelled, citing controversy. "We're pariahs," she said one night as they lay in the dark. But together. Skylar's resolve hardened. They attended pride events, finding community amid the chaos. Yet a deeper conflict brewed. Sophie's career suffered more. She considered relocating again. Maybe Europe. Start fresh. Without me. Skylar's fear resurfaced. "No. With you. If you'll come." The choice loomed. Cling to remnants of her old life or embrace the unknown. Skylar stared at the eviction notice taped to Sophie's door, her hands trembling. "What is this?" Sophie sighed, unlocking the apartment. "Landlord's moral clause. Word got out about us." The scandal had rippled further than anticipated. Anonymous calls to Sophie's agent, protests outside concerts. Skylar's family, though silent publicly, pulled strings behind scenes, donors withdrawing support from venues booking Sophie. "We'll fight it," Skylar said, but her voice lacked conviction. Her own world crumbled. Jonathan's family sued for breach of prenup clauses, claiming her lifestyle change voided agreements. Lawyers swarmed, draining her personal savings. Nights were sleepless, filled with arguments. "This is what they wanted, to break us," Sophie accused. "And it's working." Skylar's frustration boiled. "I gave up everything for you." Sophie's eyes flashed. "Gave up? You had a choice." "I didn't back then." The blame game escalated, unearthing old wounds. Skylar questioned Sophie's motives. "Did you come back for love or leverage?" "Leverage? I built my life without you." Sophie stormed out, leaving Skylar in the cramped space, surrounded by unpacked boxes from her former life. Alone, Skylar reflected on the moral quagmire. Coming out was right, but the collateral damage, hurting Jonathan, alienating family, gnawed at her conscience. Was personal happiness worth societal upheaval? A call from her sister, Amelia, offered a glimmer. "Mom's softening. Dad's stubborn, but they miss you." "Don't manipulate me," Skylar warned. "No games. Just think about reconciliation. For all of us." Skylar hung up, conflicted. Family ties pulled even as love anchored her to Sophie. Sophie returned hours later, apologetic. "I walked to our old bridge. Remembered why I fought to come back." They reconciled with tears and promises, deciding to sue the landlord for discrimination. A pro bono lawyer from an LGBTQ+ firm took the case, turning it into a media circus. Interviews followed. Skylar's story splashed across networks. Heiress defies family for true love. Support poured in, donations, messages from strangers. But hate mail too, vicious reminders of lingering prejudices. At a press conference, Skylar spoke. "Love isn't a choice. Hiding it was." Sophie stood beside her, hand in hand, a united front. Yet, privately, doubts festered. Sophie's agent called with an offer. A European tour, but solo. "They want distance from the drama." "Take it," Skylar urged, masking her fear. "Your career comes first." Sophie hesitated. "What about us? We'll make it work." But the words tasted hollow. As Sophie prepared to leave, Skylar faced her family alone. At the estate, Reginald waited in his study, looking older, frilier. "You've made your point," he grumbled. "The board's in chaos. Come back and we'll forget this nonsense." "Forget? You mean suppress?" Skylar's anger surged. "You paid Sophie to leave. Admit it." Reginald's shoulders sagged. "We thought it best. For you." "Best? You destroyed us." Tears welled. "But I'm not coming back unless you accept me, all of me." Evelyn entered, eyes red. "We were wrong. Scared of change. But losing you. It's worse." The apology was tentative, a crack in the armor. Skylar left with a promise to consider, her heart torn. Sophie departed for Paris, their goodbye at the airport bittersweet. 3 months. Then home to you. Home. Skylar clung to the word, but distance bred insecurity. Calls grew sporadic, time zones clashing with Sophie's schedule. Rumors surfaced. Sophie seen with a fellow musician, intimate dinners. Tabloids twisted facts, planting seeds of doubt. Skylar confronted her over video. "Is there someone else?" No. It's pure nonsense. Sophie's denial was vehement, but static hid nuances. Trust frayed. Skylar dove into work, volunteering at LGBTQ+ centers, finding purpose amid pain. Friends from the community shared stories of betrayal, resilience, echoes of her own. A surprise visit from Jonathan complicated matters. I heard about the tour. You okay? Fine. Skylar lied, pouring wine. He saw through it. Love's messy, but you deserve happiness. His kindness stirred guilt. Had she wronged him irreparably? As months dragged, Skylar's inner conflict peaked. Return to family safety or chase uncertain love. A letter from Sophie arrived. I miss you. But this life, constant travel, it's what I need. The subtext stung. Perhaps without Skylar's baggage. Skylar flew to London for Sophie's final show, surprising her backstage. We need to talk. Sophie's joy faded to wariness. About us. The distance. The doubts. The conversation unfolded in a hotel room, raw and unfiltered. Sophie admitted temptations. Loneliness hits hard on the road. But you resisted? Skylar pressed. Yes. For you. Sophie's assurance wavered under scrutiny. Skylar revealed her family's olive branch. They want reconciliation. And you. Sophie's fear was palpable. I want both. But if I must choose. The ultimatum hung, forcing decisions. Sophie chose her career. I can't give this up. Not again. Heartbroken, Skylar returned to New York, the city now a reminder of loss. She reconciled with her family on terms, partial acceptance, slow progress. But solitude bred reflection. Was breaking free worth the isolation? Friends urged therapy where Skylar unpacked layers. Societal pressure molding her choices, the ethics of sacrificing others for self. A chance email from Sophie months later. I regret letting you go. Skylar's response was measured. Too late. They met in neutral Chicago, testing waters. Sparks reignited but scars remained. We hurt each other, Skylar said. But we can heal. Sophie's optimism clashed with Skylar's caution. As they navigated a tentative reunion, society evolved around them, laws protecting rights, attitudes shifting. Yet personal battles raged. Skylar's family invited Sophie to dinner. A test. Tension simmered. Pointed questions, awkward silences. Reginald toasted reluctantly. To new beginnings. But Evelyn's whispers to Skylar. Is this wise? The evening ended in argument, Sophie storming out. I won't be tolerated. Skylar followed, choosing love over legacy. Then we leave together. They relocated to San Francisco, a fresh start in a more accepting enclave. Skylar started a nonprofit for LGBTQ+ youth, channeling pain into purpose. Sophie composed music inspired by their story. Yet happiness was fragile. Old habits died hard, Skylar's doubt, Sophie's wanderlust. In the fog-shrouded hills of San Francisco, Skylar and Sophie built a life from ashes. Their home was modest, a Victorian flat overlooking the bay, filled with laughter and music. But shadows lingered, uninvited guests in their newfound peace. Skylar's nonprofit thrived, counseling teens facing family rejection, mirrors of her past. Each story echoed her own. The moral dilemmas of authenticity versus security. Choosing yourself isn't selfish, she'd tell them, even as she questioned her path. Sophie toured less, focusing on local gigs, but resentment brewed. I sacrificed Europe for this, she confided to a friend over coffee, unaware Skylar overheard. The confrontation was inevitable. Sacrificed? I gave up millions. Sophie's retort. Money isn't everything. Freedom is. The fight exposed fissures. Skylar's lingering ties to wealth, Sophie's fear of entrapment. Therapy sessions helped unpacking traumas, the payoff, the disappearance, the scandal. You both chose survival, the therapist noted. Now choose each other. Progress was slow, marked by small victories. A joint bank account, shared holidays. But society intruded. A conservative backlash in politics targeted LGBTQ+ rights. Rallies turning violent. At one protest, Skylar was arrested for disorderly conduct. Her face plastered online. Sophie's panic call to bail her out. Why risk it? Because it's right. Skylar's conviction grew. But the incident strained them. Sophie worried about safety, Skylar about inaction. Family reached out sporadically. Amelia visited, bridging gaps. Mom asks about you. Tell her I'm happy. Skylar's words were true mostly. But a bombshell dropped. Reginald's health declined, a heart condition. Evelyn begs Skylar home. He wants to make amends. Sophie encouraged. Go. Closure matters. In New York, the reunion was emotional. Reginald, bedridden, whispered apologies. I was wrong. Love her if she makes you whole. Tears flowed, forgiveness tentative. But Evelyn revealed a will change. Inheritance restored with stipulations, public discretion. Skylar refused. No conditions. Accept us fully or not. She left empowered, but the visit stirred old longings for stability. Back in SF, Sophie proposed. Marry me. Solidify us. The question hung, joyous yet terrifying. Wedding planning unearthed conflicts. Guest lists excluding unsupportive family. Vows navigating past betrayals. The ceremony was intimate, on a cliffside, vows raw. I choose you, flaws and all. Honeymoon in Hawaii brought bliss, but reality crashed upon return. Sophie's ex, a fellow artist, resurfaced, offering collaboration and temptation. I'd never, Sophie assured. But late nights in the studio fueled Skylar's paranoia. A heated argument. Trust me. How? After the lies. Sophie packed a bag. I need space. The separation was agony, Skylar alone with thoughts. Had she traded one cage for another? Friends counseled patience, but doubt consumed her. Sophie returned after a week, contrite. The ex was nothing. But our issues run deep. They recommitted, but fragility persisted. Skylar's work exposed her to stories of failed relationships, mirroring fears. A pivotal moment. A teen client attempted suicide after family rejection. Skylar's intervention saved her, but the event shook her. We can't let fear win. Sophie agreed, co-authoring a book on their journey. Anonymous at first, then revealed. The memoir sparked debate. Heroes or cautionary tale? Reviews polarized. Inspiring resilience versus selfish destruction of family. The publicity brought threats, forcing security measures. But it also connected them to allies, strengthening their bond. Years passed, their love tempered by trials. Skylar reflected on choices. The payoff Sophie took. Was it greed or necessity? Her own hesitation in college, cowardice or youth? A family reunion in neutral territory. Reginald recovered, met Sophie properly. Welcome, he said gruffly. Evelyn hugged them both. Progress imperfect. But a final twist. Sophie's health scare. A benign tumor but frightening. In the hospital, Skylar vowed. No more doubts. Recovery bonded them deeper. Appreciation for fragility. As they aged gracefully, Skylar pondered the ethics. Did their happiness justify the pain inflicted? The awakening sparked in others? Their story became legend in circles, a testament to love's cost. In the aftermath of the wedding, Skylar and Sophie navigated the mundane battles of married life, where grand dramas gave way to subtle erosions. Bills piled up without the Harrington cushion, forcing Skylar to take consulting gigs alongside her nonprofit work. Sophie composed jingles for ads, a far cry from concert halls, her pride chafing at the compromise. I feel trapped, Sophie admitted one rainy evening, staring out at the Golden Gate Bridge shrouded in mist. Trapped by me. Skylar's insecurity flared. By circumstances. We fought for this, but it's harder than expected. The admission led to couples counseling, where they dissected motivations. Skylar, you seek validation from society, the therapist observed. Sophie, you rebel against it. Insights bred change. Skylar cut ties with lingering socialites. Sophie pursued passion projects. But external pressures mounted. A bill in Congress threatened marriage equality rollbacks, igniting activism. They marched, spoke at rallies, their faces symbols of resistance. Death threats followed, anonymous letters decrying their sin. Skylar's resolve wavered. Is exposure worth the danger? Sophie's fire. Hiding got us nowhere. The tension culminated in a break-in at their home. Vandalism scrawled with hate. Police dismissed it as prank, but fear rooted deep. Moving to a gated community felt like defeat, but safety trumped pride. Reginald's illness brought Skylar east again, Sophie accompanying. The bedside confession. I envied your courage. Forgiveness flowed, but Evelyn's conditional love stung. Discreet, please. No, Skylar stood firm. Back home, Sophie's ex's overtures turned insistent. A collaboration turning flirtatious. Skylar discovered texts, innocuous but intimate. Confrontation. Emotional affair? Sophie denied, but seeds of distrust sprouted. The separation lasted 2 weeks, Skylar crashing with friends, Sophie in a hotel. Reflection time. Skylar journaled inner monologues, weighing love's worth against betrayal's sting. Reunion was passionate, promises renewed. We're worth fighting for. The memoirs release amplified voices, debates raging online. They destroyed lives for selfishness versus pioneers of authenticity. Skylar engaged in forums defending choices, but moral ambiguity haunted. Right for them, wrong for others? Sophie's tumor scare unified them. Surgery a wake-up call. Post-op they traveled, reconnecting. In quiet moments, Skylar asked, regrets? None. Sophie's certainty anchored her. Their legacy, mentoring couples advocating change. Yet questions lingered. As the sun set over the Pacific, casting golden hues on their balcony, Skylar and Sophie sipped wine, reflecting on 2 decades together. The scars had faded, but memories etched deep, the choices, the costs. Skylar's nonprofit had expanded nationally, saving countless lives from the brink of despair. Sophie's music scored films, her name synonymous with resilience. Their memoir inspired a documentary, sparking global conversations on love versus legacy. But personal tolls remained. Jonathan had remarried happily, but their divorces ripple-affected mutual friends. Skylar's family reconciled fully only after Reginald's passing, Evelyn finally attending pride parades in his memory. Sophie faced her own demons. The payoff money long donated to charity still a ghost. Did I sell out? She'd muse. No, Skylar reassured. You survived. Society had progressed, marriage equality solidified, acceptance broader. Yet, pockets of prejudice persisted, reminding them of battles won and ongoing. In therapy, they explored final layers, the ethical quandaries of their journey. We hurt people, Skylar admitted. But awakened more, Sophie countered. Their love, forged in fire, stood testament. Children weren't in cards. Adoption attempts thwarted by past scandals, but they mentored youth, building chosen family. A pivotal anniversary trip to New York revisited origins. Carnegie Hall, where it reignited. Standing on stage empty, Sophie played their song, tears flowing. Worth every tear, Skylar whispered. Back home, a letter from a fan. Your story saved my marriage. But at what cost to yours? The question mirrored Skylar's inner debate. Happiness justified damage? As years advanced, health challenges arose. Sophie's arthritis limiting performances, Skylar's anxiety managed with meds. They adapted, love evolving from passion to companionship. Friends envied their bond, but Skylar knew the price. Isolation periods, lost opportunities. In quiet evenings they debate. Was coming out the right choice or a selfish one? Sophie. Right? Authenticity trumps facade. Skylar. But the pain inflicted. The ambiguity lingered, a catalyst for growth. Their final act. Endowing scholarships for LGBTQ+ artists, ensuring legacies beyond personal stories. As twilight deepened, Skylar posed the eternal query. Was pursuing forbidden love, despite shattering families and facing societal wrath, ultimately the moral path, or a destructive indulgence? The years rolled on like waves crashing against the shore, each bringing new challenges and triumphs to Skylar and Sophie's shared life. Skylar's organization grew into a beacon for marginalized youth, hosting workshops on navigating family dynamics and societal biases. She poured her experiences into curricula, teaching that internal conflicts often stemmed from external pressures, and that moral choices were rarely black and white. Sophie, meanwhile, transitioned to teaching at a conservatory, mentoring prodigies who reminded her of her younger self, full of fire, yet vulnerable to the world's judgments. Her compositions, infused with themes of loss and redemption, won awards, but she always credited Skylar as her muse. Without the storm, no rainbow, she'd say in interviews. Their relationship deepened with time, the early dramas giving way to a steady rhythm. Mornings started with coffee and newspapers, discussions ranging from politics to philosophy. "Do you think our story romanticizes suffering?" Skylar asked one day, flipping through a review of their documentary. Sophie pondered. "Perhaps. But it shows truth. Love demands sacrifice." Sacrifices they knew well. Jonathan's occasional emails were cordial, but a reminder of collateral damage. He'd built a family, something Skylar sometimes envied in quiet moments. Her own family ties strengthened post-Reginald. Evelyn volunteered at the nonprofit, Atonement in Action. But old wounds resurfaced during holidays. A cousin's offhand remark about traditional marriage sparked debates, forcing Skylar to defend her choices anew. "We didn't choose this path to hurt you," she'd argue, inner turmoil churning. Sophie's health decline was gradual. Arthritis stiffening fingers that once danced on keys. Performances became rare, frustration mounting. "I feel useless," she confessed. Skylar's support was unwavering. "Your worth isn't in playing. It's in being." They adapted, Sophie turning to digital composition, Skylar managing anxiety with mindfulness. Therapy continued, a lifeline for unpacking lingering guilt. The betrayal felt by families, the ethical debates of prioritizing self over society. A major milestone. Adopting a rescue dog, then fostering teens. A girl named Mia, mirrored their past, disowned for her identity. Guiding her through reconciliation or independence taught them anew. No universal right or wrong. Their memoir's sequel explored these nuances, titled The Cost of Truth. Critics hailed it for honesty. Harrington and Ellis don't sugarcoat. They provoke thought on whether personal liberation justifies communal pain. Public speaking tours followed, audiences divided. "Heroes," some cheered. "Selfish," others booed. In private, Skylar wrestled. "Did we inspire or warn?" "Both," Sophie replied. As they entered their golden years, a peaceful routine settled. Walks along the beach, hand in hand, reminiscing. "Remember the shock at Carnegie?" Skylar laughed. "How could I forget? Your face priceless." Laughter masked deeper reflections, the moral maze of their lives. Taking the payoff, desperation or greed. Hiding identity, survival or cowardice. Exposing truths, bravery or recklessness. Their legacy endured through endowments, ensuring future generations faced fewer barriers. In the end, as they sat watching the sunset, Skylar voiced the lingering question that sparked endless debate. Was defying societal norms and family expectations for true love a righteous act of self-actualization, or an ethically questionable pursuit that inflicted unnecessary harm on others?